Not too bad. Things are going well. The guys are working hard. They're having fun, even in the midst of the hard work. So that's always a good sign. But been very efficient. The guys been very receptive. It's a good group to work with.
What about expectations maybe coming into practice, and where have they been exceeded, and where do you think you guys need more work than you thought?
Well, you always need work. I think we really need to improve defensively as far as setting the tone, a physical tone. That's a lot of mental preparation. Being physical without fouling. So there's a fine line that we're playing extremely hard without being out of control, without fouling, without being wild. So that's the thing we're working on right now. Being arm's length defensively, consistent box out. That's the area we really need to improve upon. And just playing hard.
Talk about your rotation. I was looking right now. Are you a guy who think you're going to go deep into your bench, or are you going to keep it pretty short leash? It seemed like at Tennessee you didn't go too deep.
I've always been, eight max. If there's a 9, somebody's injured, I got to give them some key minutes. So I think the biggest key, you have to give your best players an opportunity to play consistently. I think they have to be in shape to play that way. They have to be able to play without fouling. But I've never been a guy to go 9, 10, 11 consistently. I just think it's hard for your key guys to get into a real flow.
Right, and then talk about offensively, kind of what is your approach? What kind of offense are we going to see from this team coming into this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing with offense have spacing, to give your guys a chance to drive the ball, give your post guys a chance to post up, to make plays offensively, to have good spacing, transition offense. We want to score, so I think we have personnel to get out and run. But again, if you don't have a shot, run your offense, execute your offense, set solid screens, and you got to give up your body when you're setting screens. You got to make a play for your teammates, so to speak. Drive the ball, make 2, commit, find one of your teammates. So all those things, we try to be very unselfish offensively and try to have fun in doing that.
What about in terms of, it seemed like Tennessee, you guys ran a good deal. Is that really a personnel thing, and is that what you ideally would like to do?
I think one of the things you do, you always play according to your personnel. We like to get out and run if we have an opportunity to run. Don't you have to execute your offense, because if you don't have a great shot initially, you want to make that defense work. You don't want to come down and take a bad shot, and all of a sudden those guys will transition down your back, and you're playing defense for an extended period of time. You want to play a lot of offense as opposed to a lot of defense.
Right. What about the 3 newest additions to the team in terms of Nick and Brandon and Kingsley? What are kind of your assessments of those 3, and where do you think they're at their development?
They're good guys first and foremost. They work extremely hard. They're committed to the program, and I think the biggest key is accepting whatever role it is. I mean, Dwight Tallwater is a guy that's transferred, graduate transfer from Portland. Plays hard, physical presence. I'm familiar with him because he's from Knoxville, Tennessee. Can make a 3-point shot. He understands the level of play. When you're talking about Pac-12, he's an experienced guy. He's battle tested. I think Kingsley is a 7'1" guy, big guy. He's better defensively than he is offensively right now. So we can get him to continue to be a solid defender. He has a chance. His offense will come with time. And then Brandon's a point guard. A guy that can make shots, can make plays off the dribble. So 3 solid guys.
Who do you think has made maybe the biggest strides in terms of when you got here to right now?
Well, I think they've all gotten better. But to say a guy that made the biggest jump, you can see the growth in guys' bodies when you watch them. But I think that obviously Nicodemus has done a great job in the weight room. But just as far as a player, I think Rogers made really good strides. Kingsley obviously has done a lot of good things for us since he got here in June. I think, the other guys, again, have gotten better. I think I've been more impressed with Sam Singer. Because when I watch him on film, it's one thing. When you see him in practice live, he's like a bull out there when he attacks the rim. Very physical, very strong, makes plays. So he's probably been, I wouldn't say the biggest surprise. He's a talented ball player, but I've been more impressed with him personally when I watch him.
What kind of strides has Roger made specifically?
I think just shooting the basketball from the perimeter, because he spends a lot of time working on his shot. He's an athletic guy. He has a quick first step. But his overall game, I think the key for him, not settling for 3-point shots, even though he's improved his shot. It reminded me of myself, my sophomore year in college. I shot some threes and I started settling for them. But it wasn't my game as of yet until the next year. So I think for him to consistently still drive the ball, attack the offensive glass, and make plays off the dribble as opposed to settling for a lot of 3-point shots.
I heard that Christian's not playing with the brace anymore.
No, he's not. He's doing a good job. I mean, if you hadn't seen him before, you wouldn't think that he had knee surgery. Again, he's put the work in, he's put the time in, physically improved his body, and he's competing out there. And I think when you go through something like that, because I've had 4 knee surgeries, that's a mental thing you have to get over. He's done a great job of getting over that mental hump. We continue to push him and not allow him to worry about things. That's part of it. Whatever happens with that, it happens. He has to go out and play the game hard. Try to have fun and play.
Talk about Jabari. I think you're probably going to get a million questions about him on Thursday. Just kind of your assessment of where he's at, and I think a lot of people think that he's a guy who could make the jump to the next level? And do you think he's close to that type of point right now in his game?
Well, for me as a coach, it's one day at a time. That's how I approach it with him. Have fun and playing the game. Take what the game gives you, but you got to compete. You got to play hard all the time. And I think those things he's learning to do on a consistent basis. Now, as far as making jumps, that's between him and his family. My job as a coach is to put him in a position to do that. Because I think part of you as a coach is helping your guys meet their dreams. But my thing is coaching a 15-man crew every day, put them in the best situation to be successful.
Do you think this team is going to be where kind of you hoped it would be by game one? Do you think it's getting into that shape, or?
I don't know, because I don't know what I really hope. You want guys, for me, it's always defend, rebound, and play hard. I think those things you can control. Now, are we there yet? No. We got plenty of work to do from a physical standpoint, to being able to go through some, dealing with tough times. I think last year we hit with a lot of adversity. We didn't keep fighting through some situations. You got to be able to fight through some adversity. Then when you lose a guy like Cobb, a guy that's a playmaker that make plays down the stretch, the ball's in his hand, you have to identify that guy now. So we're going through those things as we speak.
It seemed like Kravish was kind of a guy who already was kind of stepping into a leadership role last year. How much more is it now so that he's a senior?
He's done a great job. He's a very intelligent young man, but also he works hard, so that's a plus for him. He's a guy that understands how to play. He's played in big games, but he works extremely hard. So guys respect that, because it's one thing to be a senior and talk about it, but he's gone through the fire, and he's battle-tested, and he backs it up.
Cool.
How do you see the point guard minutes shaken out? There was talk about maybe seeing Tyrone there a little bit. Kyle obviously is a true point guard. We've got Brandon coming in.
I don't know yet. I mean, just whoever earns it. I think all three of those guys have an opportunity to be at that position, and they're fighting for the starting position. And it really comes down to whoever earns it. We're working on that as we speak.
How have you seen the buy-in as far as the defensive intensity you're looking to have all game long? I mean, in the past we've seen it here and there, spurts, but not full games. Do you see them buying into the point where you can really emphasize that all game long?
I don't necessarily buy anything. This is what we're doing. They're part of a program, so they're bought in if you're part of this program. I think the biggest key is you have to go through it. It's one thing to talk about, and you can do it in spurts and practice. You have to go through and be in situations to fully understand what it means to be at a high level defensively.
So obviously there's been a lot of success in the strength and conditioning program. You mentioned Coach Nick earlier. Guys have added typically 10, 15 pounds, have gotten a lot stronger, their cardio is a lot better. Have they seen significant improvements in their games? Have they been able to play at a higher level for longer periods of time because of that?
I think so. We condition it. We don't do a lot of outside conditioning. Everything we do is on the floor. Nick does a great job with that as well. We get up and down the floor, so you can see the conditioning from that standpoint. Also, you can see the guys' stature, their bodies that they've improved. But just really going through the practice, taking hits, being able to bounce back from practices. Normally this time of year, guys go down with injuries, some small injuries, some major, but I think our guys have been able to maintain and fight through those bumps and bruises.
You've mentioned that in the past you've played some 4-out offense where it's been a smaller lineup on the court. Do you see the pieces on this team being able to execute that well when you need to run that type of an offense?
So, I mean, again, this season we'll go 4 guards, we'll go 2 bigs, 2 traditional bigs. And again, I think that really comes down to who we're playing against and what fits best going into that particular game. Now, it's not a case where we'll change lineups every game. We're changing lineups. That means we need better personnel to what we're doing. I've always been a guy that like to start with a 5 and roll with that 5 to the end of the season. But if stuff happens, you make changes. But we'll change our game plan according to how the game is going. But it's stuff that we practice.
Are there any front runners for that number 2 big man behind Kravish if you play 2 big men at once?
I think you're right. Christian, Kingsley has an outside shot, but he's a true